Hello everybody, it's your girl Zhe'Laja. I guess I should put my seatbelt on or whatever to ensure safety, right? But story time, I want to tell y'all about the first time that I got drugged. At least I think I got drugged. I don't really know what happened to me, but I can explain to you what my body went through. The guy swears up and down that it was a sex stimulant, but he put fear into me. You know, and I submitted and did what I was told, but I was very, very afraid for my life. So I had met a guy on a dating app for trans and queers, and he seemingly was that thing. You know, he was very handsome, he was cute, he had hazel eyes, and he was fine as fuck. His teeth was a little challenged, like he had a little big buck tooth, but I'm like, there ain't nothing, you know, this bitch is out here with no teeth at all or holes in their mouth, you know. So God was like, Zhe'Laja, be nice, don't be so shallow. So I accepted his overbites with an S. I accepted it. You know, I accepted the man with the challenged mouth and the pretty eyes. And he had pulled up. No. We're not even gonna get to that part. We had talked on the phone. He called me and I'm like, oh my God, so are you in a closet? He like, no, I'm discreet. And I'm like, so I'm loving this, because normally when I meet dudes on the internet, they don't want to give you their real number. They don't want to talk to you on the phone. Like, so he was already seducing me. So we're talking or whatever, and the conversation goes great. We were supposed to link up the other night, but we didn't. He said he had fell asleep, but it was crazy because I asked him before if he was a night owl, and I'm so glad that we didn't link up in the nighttime. So I guess it all worked out because I'm still alive to tell the story. But I should have known something was off, because when he hit me up the next time, he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, hey, sleepyhead, nothing. I was like, hey, sleepyhead, nothing. And he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I was tired last night. He was like, but no, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, nothing, about to come see you. And I was like, oh yeah, so you just pushing down on a gal, huh? Like you just being aggressive, like you a dominant. Now keep in mind, the day before when we talked, he told me he was shy, reserved, and laid back and stuff. And you know, I kind of felt like he was, because he ride motorcycles, whatever. Like, so, girl, it was a mess. Like, so he told me he was pulling up on me, and I'm in the middle of baking a customer's order. You know, so he came over, and he was 5 minutes away from my residence, which was crazy. You know, but it was just a quinky thing. He is fine. Damn, all that dick in there. Damn, let me suck on it. I'm sorry, I slipped. But so girl, he come in the house, and as soon as he get in the house, I'm talking about charming as fuck, Mr. Personality. First thing I see is his teeth. Like, they stick out, of course. He like, I don't know if he was trying to bite me or blow a kiss, but you know, I'm like, oh, he cute, little big mouth. Like, I'm like, oh, look at you, you was so handsome with your little ass pea head. He was like, you got a big ass head, but come here. And he was just real, like, playful and jittery, and you know, in his prime. And he hugged me, and he had gave a compliment to a picture he saw on the wall. So we had went in the room or whatever, like, and girl, why the fuck did the first thing he do is lay in my bed in his motorcycle clothes and his shoes? Like, he just fell back into my bed like he was home. So I'm like, what you doing, big bruh? Like, what's up? My voice almost slipped. I'm like, what's up, my nigga? Like, what you on? Like, it was just different for me. Like, so I'm like, what is he on? Like, so I'm like, not you just got in my bed in your motorcycle clothes. I'm like, and you smell like outside. He's like, no, I don't. I smell good. I'm like, nah, you do smell good though. But I'm like, not you in my bed though. So he pulled me into the bed, and I got on my cheetah print robe, and I ain't got nothing on under. You know, I'm a thought. I'm ready to do a little something strange. But keep in mind, I told him I wanted a hug. So I was going to make the move. He ended up making the move. So he pulled me on the bed, and he started playing with my nipples. And he was playing with my left one and my right one, my right one and my left one. And that's my spot, girl. So I'm like, oh my God, why he doing that? Why he sucking on my nipples? Like, and he was just sucking my nips. And I'm like, oh my God. So then he sat up and started sucking them after playing with them. And I'm like, wait. And I'm talking about, he put me in like this little position, like he was like acting like he was being breastfed. So I'm like, okay, talented, skill. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you trying to seduce me? He like, nah, I'm just chilling. And I'm like, So girl, why the fuck he start biting me? And I'm like, I knew the motherfucking teeth was strong, motherfucking strong teeth, bitch. I'm talking about, he was biting the fuck out of me, but it was low-key turning me on. So I'm like, I got this aardvark in my bed. What do I do? A-A-R-V-V-A-K. You know, I'm like, I got Arthur in my bed and shit. Like, so girl, I'm going with the flow, whatever. Like, so, but keep in mind, I ain't touched him, rubbed him, or nothing yet. So then I looked at him again. I'm like, oh, you really is handsome without a haircut. And he was like, you keep sliding on me in. And I was like, I ain't saying nothing about your And I had to stop myself because I was saying, I ain't said nothing about your teeth yet, but I had said everything about them in my head. So it was giving what it's supposed to give on the right day, you know, and, you know, we was just still, you know, fooling around. And he was still coming on strong. And so he ended up flipping me over. He started playing with my dick. He started kissing up and down my stomach, rubbing my thighs, like, and I'm like, oh my God, it's too much. I'm like, this different, like, but girl, he was real seductive and manly and friendly and passionate. Like, it's like he knew what he was doing to me. So I was like, let me get up and go check an order. And when I got up, he pushed me into my mirror, and I had to use my hands to hold him on the wall. And he went up my robe, and he started sniffing my asshole, licking it, kissing my cheeks, biting me with them big ass teeth again. I'm like, oh my God, Advark, what are you doing? You know, but it was kind of, I'm getting seduced. I'm like, oh my God, this shit is crazy. So before you knew it, he had pulled his dick out, and it was a curve. And I was like, oh my God, you about to put that in me? Like, it literally was turned, like bent, like you would have thought it was broke. I'm like, I know all about a curved dick. Like, he like, yeah, it's a curved dick. I'm about to put this in you. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so, girl, he got the going good. He went in there and he started fucking me against the little mirror. And then before you knew it, I was in my bed on all fours like a thought bitch. And he was like pounding my shit. And it was crazy. And out of nowhere, he did the unthinkable. He was like, let me find my motorcycle. He was like, let me find my key real quick. And I'm like, huh? I was like, what made you think? What made you think about a key? Like, I'm asking this question because I'm curious. Like, what made you think about a key? So, bitch, I'm asking this nigga what made him think about a little key. And I see him grab something real small, like this little brown little container. Kind of look like one of them, you know, the things that peppermint oil come in, or the little African oils. And I'm getting fucked, and I'm looking, and I see him sniff it. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? So when I turned around and looked at him, he like choked me and was like, turn around, what you doing? And I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, none, this is a sex stimulant. And I was like, oh, I guess, like, so I'm taking a dick. And bitch, he reached around me and he said, come here. And I'm like, what? He was like, put this in your nose. I'm like, no, what the fuck? Hell nah. So, bitch, I'm moving my head side to side like move your body like a snake, and he fucking like holding me down, and he keep trying to stick this shit in my nose. So I'm talking and I'm breathing, and I end up inhaling, and he like, yeah, that's how you do it, bitch, and then do the other nose. I'm like, what is this? I'm not a crackhead. I'm not no motherfucking crackhead. And he pinned me down like, bitch, I ain't no fucking crackhead. I'm like, well, what is this? So he done pinned me down and made it, like, put it in me again, like, because I'm talking my shit and I'm trying to squirm, so I keep inhaling. And bitch, my whole body just got super hot and my head just started spinning. This was an immediate reaction, bitch. And I felt like a jello, like I literally felt like I was about to collapse. And I'm like, did you just drug me? And he was like, nah, I ain't just drug you. What the fuck? He was like, this make that booty hole open up a little bit. You too tight. So bitch, tell me why he fucking me still, got me pinned down, and my booty hole did start opening up. I'm like, what is this? He like, I swear to God, it's a sex stimulant. I'm like, I don't use sex stimulants. I don't use toys, none of that. Like, I'm like, I feel like I've been taken advantage of. Like, so he gonna get up off of me like, bitch, why the fuck did he nut all in me and I didn't even know? And it was like dripping out. Like, he had literally took advantage of me and I did not know what to do. I was so fucking scared. So I went to check my order or whatever. And he was like, can I get a wet towel, wet rag? So I had gave him a wet rag and shit. And I was like, what did you just give me? I was like, please don't tell me you just drugged me. He was like, look at you. Look at your eyes. It's your pupils out, lady. You standing straight. You talking right, your words ain't slurred. It wasn't drugs. And I'm like, well, I don't know what it was. And I was like, I'm a professional guinea pig. I make a lot of money with that. I cannot have no drugs in my system, sir. I need you to understand that. So I really hope that you just not just give me no drugs, because you will mess up a lot of stuff for me. Like, bitch, I was like annoyed. So he hugged me or whatever and he kissed me on my forehead, and then he was like, all right, I see you. And he was like, I gotta go do this, I gotta handle this, blah blah blah. Like, but bitch, it was scary. I don't know what happened. I don't know what that was. You know, I feel away. I do. And that's that. So be careful, y'all, because I battle a sex addiction. You know, on a serious note, a more serious note, I do battle a sex addiction. And I feel like, you know, I feel like I was taken advantage of. And I feel like shit could have got real slow for me, honestly. I feel like the situation could have got real crazy. And I don't know. I just don't trust people at all. But yeah, that's my story.